So we're all set up to go with Resistenza. And let me just take a look at the different characters that you have. So this one can add, now this is hard to see here. I thought it was just +2 to a roll when committing. No, after you see the roll, you can add or subtract up to 2. He also doesn't lose any troops or cards, I'm sorry, event cards or tiles on eradication. Tiles being, there's one that gets transferred, is what it means, not these guys. His special capabilities are pretty limited. They're just combat card stuff, because his special powers are quite strong. And these characters I selected randomly. Theoretically, they should be over like this, but the explanation of their special abilities, the tokens, is on the other side, which can be problematic. Sharp +2 to all search, and reduce threat rolls. That's going to do a couple of things. One, get rid of more threat. The thing that I didn't do last game, in part, is because I didn't have him there to remind me of, wait, what's that? I should be able to remember. But there's no... let's find the sequence of play. Yeah, there is a sequence of play. I don't know what my grump is. It's a tiny, tiny sequence of play, though. But it's right here. And his special counters, again, just stuff that you find on the numbers. This is, again, a powerful capability. He's got a little bit more in the counters than the first guy. Oh, what about this one? This is okay. So I had her before. Feisty, when attacking, may take a threat to add 2 cards from the deck. This is really a big bonus for hitting convoys and other kind of attacks that the partisans do. She also has a special ability. First of all, this one's quite potent with a 4 combat value. But a special ability, Defiance, if less than 4 threat, +3 threat to move a tile from the Nazi fascist to the partisan bag. You can do that at the end of the game or whatever. Or if some big tokens went into the Nazi fascist that you know were big, you just saw them go. That's a good thing to trigger at an earlier stage. Now this guy has a bunch of counters. His special ability is Farsighted, may take other actions when marching. That's actually pretty potent. Because remember, March allows you to move all the way across the map using footsteps and whatnot. It also reduces threat. The standard, let's see, the standard ability, Disengage, is a little bit more expensive to use, but you can use it in conjunction. So he has kind of a limited power in comparison to some of these others, but is able to, but it's definitely a good power and able to move a little bit more quickly. But in terms of these other abilities here, oh boy, do we have a lot. First of all, these are just numbers and whatnot, but a lot of different options, including this big movement, which could be a big deal towards getting somewhere. But this other one, look at and reorder the next 4 event cards. I actually didn't use this in my last game. I had him as one of the characters, and I mean, you're going to face them all. So it's kind of like, well, when's it a good time to do it? And eventually I just got to that point. All right. To actually kick things off, the red player is going to go first. Put him there or something. And we draw the very first card. And Reggio Emilia gets 1. It's a little hard to see, especially when you're first playing. Like, it wasn't clear to me what happened. Now I look at make sure I have the black side. You can kind of tell which side's concave. That'll show up here. Nothing I can do about it yet. Recruiting office. You may roll the die on the following table. Sure. One, I got 3 threat. Well, that blows. I'm going to put these here. This is actually meant to be a holder for a specific card that affects this, that's based on that space, but I want a discard pile more than I want that. They also suggest cards that you use, so like this would go here to remind you what happened this turn. I don't know. I got my own feelings. So I can only do one, well, there's one thing that I can do, which is form brigade, and I must. I place my character on any territory on the map which is not occupied by another brigade. I'm not thrilled with all that threat, and I'm not going to be able to get rid of that. I could get eradicated pretty easily. I'm not getting any people, so let's see how far away I can go. This gives me some flexibility. I want to be in a rich space so I get more draws. I'll go here. That's the end of my turn. My counter's placed. I go to the next player. I draw this. Parma gets one. I also have the ability to just peek at the corner. I put it in Parma. If you don't have a brigade in play, you may form one in Merizo. Keep this card. You may discard it to cancel all effects of an attack against your brigade. It's a powerful combination. I'm going to do this because it allows me to form for free. Of course, I have to find where Merizo is. That's not trivial. There it is. Okay, that's kind of close to stuff, so I probably don't want too much threat. However, I also don't have a rich area, so I kind of want a couple of partisans. So I'm going to play 2 partisans, because remember, I came on the board from this. That'll get me a couple of threat. I could buy cards right now. Cards are useful, but, geez, if I play a card, I end up, if I buy a card, it's a sort of a one-time thing, whereas partisans are going to get me something for more time. Of course, the card could be converted into maybe a way to get rid of, you know, like a disengage or something like that. Without the card, I'm going to be going through 2 turns that could be dangerous to me. So I don't know which way to go. Odd, I'm going to draw a card. I choose not to. I just am going to take those 2. These I keep, I guess, with myself. They're kind of hard to see because of the table. You could put them out there, but I think that would be confusing. Okay. And he's down. Puts me down. Or her. Reggio Emilia gets 2. Ah. Hey. Okay. So I'll try to pretend I didn't see any of those. I kind of didn't, but I think that's a low number on the top. All right, keep this card. You can retrieve airdrops also in territories, not cities, adjacent to yours. It'd be pretty impressive for the die to land only on a city, but further, once per turn, after cards are exchanged in a dispatch action you executed, you may carry out an airdrop on the brigade you execute the action with. If such a brigade retrieves the airdrop, the retrieved cards count as cards received through dispatch. Well, what does that mean? This is a card I hadn't seen last time. So, once per turn, after cards are exchanged in a dispatch or you executed, you may carry out. That may be the limit. I'm trying to figure out what the the retrieved cards count as cards received through a dispatch. What that means, like, is that a limit to how many cards that I want to trade because I can only get 6 total or something along those lines? I have no cards to begin with. I must show up on the map. There's a lot of activity up here, in part because he got jumped in there. So I'm going to go down here to this rich space. I am not able to do any further actions. This card did not put me on the board. Third. Parma gets one. I'm going to have to put these cards here. Receive 2 threat. So the blue player has to deal with that. Gain 1 partisan after first form brigade or recruit action this turn. Well, I'm only allowed 1 form brigade action. That's kind of cool. So I see 2 places I'm interested in. One is over here. I know there's an early card that deals down in this area. One is up here. I don't know anything about that. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to take one of these. I get it for free. It doesn't create any additional threat. But this card kind of screwed me a little. This did not allow me to do a free form brigade. So I am now at the end of the season. All right. Let's take a look at each player in turn. He's got no partisans, but he's in a rich area, so he gets 1. Orange is not in a rich area, but has 2 partisans, so he gets 2. I don't have the person who gets an extra 1. She is in a rich area, gets 1. And you can look at these. And blue is in a rich area with a partisan, gets 2. Okay. Now we go to sustenance. Each brigade has to discard some cards. Red has no partisans, doesn't have to pay for them. Orange has 2 on the board. Luckily I have a 2 card. I want to keep this one for the threat reduction. I'm not allowed to play it right now, but I'll play the 2 to feed my people. And you can see I haven't really gained much. I'm not, no. This is one of the most powerful characters on the, of the brigades on the board, and it has a card and a couple of these. I don't feel like I have the capability with a strength of 1 and no movement capability. I have to use one of these counters or whatever. I can't really intervene in much with what came up. Yellow. Yellow has none on the board, so I get to hold my card. Blue has 1 on the board. Okay. So I have a couple of options here. It says discards combat cards, but I could get rid of this to hold richer cards. That's an interesting option because this has a lot of threat reduction. This is a particularly big card. So I'm going to discard that for the resources thing. And that is the end of one time around. Now, how many are there? Well, that was the end of 43. 44, I think 44 is rather large. Like, there may be, I think there's 4 seasons in 44, and then 45 gets small again. Okay. I'm going to break for a little bit, but hey, we got started, man. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. So for every player, I forgot the thing I'm supposed to be remembering. Now, the way they handle, this is the threat reduction. The way they handle die rolls, die roll has to be higher than the current threat for it to be an issue. Yeah, these aren't half die rolls. Current threat was 3. That's a 2. This does not help me, so I don't lose any. This is +2 on the die roll, though. So I get a 5, I get rid of all my threat. None over here, so I don't have to worry. A 2 over there. Nobody's special ability helps here. I get a 2, that's not going to help. So this is the thing that I did not do in my prior game. And you can see it was very valuable for one person. Other people got shitty rolls. Okay, so that's kind of the pre-game part, really, in a sense. The setting up, I mean, it follows the same mechanisms, but it's setting up the situation as we go forward. Now, we still have to draw a card and see what happens, though. Parma gets one. And we're going to get opportunities to do things soon. We have a search. Now this is against the red player. I find myself having to look up every time what the mechanisms are in each case, just because it's very procedural. You kind of vaguely remember. So I roll a die, and if it's less than the partisans, it's going to cause extra threat. That can't happen. Now I have 3 threat, so that die is still used for the threat. Now let me make sure he doesn't do anything. Nope. Rolled a 2. That means he's going to be attacked. First of all, though, he's flipped over. So he has a more reduced set of things. He can only disengage. Well, he can form brigade. He can disengage, diffuse, or march. Those are the only things he can do. But he can do multiples other than the march. Okay. So an attack is going to happen. The risk factor. The risk factor is 3, as that's the closest road that I've got to me. I get cards equal to threat. Threat is 3. Now, I couldn't, let's say I had a dot or something, I couldn't immediately reduce my risk at this point because I have to be doing the proper action for that to be the case. Even though I can play these at any time, there are some times when they don't make any sense. Okay, so these get turned up. This black thing counts only for the fascists reaching things. Now, you'll notice some of the spaces on the board have little black arrows on them too. That makes those areas harder to get to once certain events take place. There was only 1 distance covered, so the attack didn't make it. But now, my actions have been reduced. Oh, I got this. The brigade closest to Carrara is Carrara. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 with the most threat. Blue and yellow. Yellow has none. Blue has 2 threat. So blue suffers an attack. If this attack eliminates 1 or more partisans, move 1 tile from the partisan to the Nazi fascist bag. There aren't any, so I'm safe with that. Otherwise, it goes the other way, though. Well, there aren't any in either, so not a big deal there. However, we do have to undertake the attack. Here, the threat, the risk is 3. The threat is 2. We don't do a search here. The risk of 2, this is unlikely to do anything, is not able to generate 3 movement. So the attack did not eliminate more than 1. So a tile would have moved because of how far out of things he is. But now we go back to red. Red's actions. Their only actions allowed are farm brigade. We can't do that. Diffuse and disengage. I can't do any of these without expending chits, and none of my chits really help. So I am done with my turn. I'm going to relight. Again, I roll the die. So normally I do die rolls like this a little differently than I'm doing them for this game. Here they're divided by 2, which is how most people do them. Usually when I have a D3, I do 1, 2, 3, and then -3 if it's more. So, I don't know. But 1 divided by 2. 1 is not higher. No, this isn't a 1d3. This is a d6. Okay, so I don't get any threat reduction. Next player. La Spezia gets 1. Oh, la 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 la. We have a search on orange. Okay. Search. Gotta remember how to do it, or else I'll be doing this every time. So the brigade rolls. If it's equal to or less than the partisans, there's 2 on the map. None less. The brigade is not exposed either because that's higher than my threat, which it almost guaranteed is, so we don't go onward. The brigade closest to Cassola or Licciana Nardi. Okay. This is not going to be easy. Well, there. That's pretty, and there's the other one. Okay, so closest to Cassola suffers an attack. Draw an additional card for the attack if the brigade is actually in the location. You know, that sucks. Okay, so back to the risk factor is 3 there. A number of cards equal to their threat. That's 2 plus 1 is 3. This has some danger. Okay, so I can do this. That's 3 movement spaces to get to the space and attack. So now there's a 4-point attack on the blue card. Now, I didn't do that. Will I ever? I can cancel that out with a 4-point defense. I could use some of these too. The battle did not happen. I was not exposed. So now we go back to the orange player. The orange player gets to do his things. What are his things? Well, reduce threat +2. That's awesome. Okay. I'm going to continue building up my... so threat reduction is a d6 at +2. Would guarantee if I only take 2 risk and put 2 of these down, that I'm safe. That I'll get my threat reduction. Do I want to go a little further? Yes, I do. I'm going to take 2 more threat and put 2 more of these in. Build up a huge brigade. I'm going to do diffuse and get rid of 2 of that risk. I could play 1 more and equip, right? No, diffuse can't be done with equip. Okay, yeah, that's the one I can't do. So I can't keep drawing more cards in the hope of diffusing. Now I get my threat reduction, and that's going to guarantee to work. At +2 to the die roll, 6. Okay, and so I think that allows me to get rid of 4 of these. Because it's not the raw die roll, I think. I'm not sure. So I've built up a hell of a big brigade there. Parma gets 1. This is... oh, so these are the bad cards. They do attacks and stuff. These are the good cards. They tend to be separated as far... I saw that, but I didn't see what it is. So on Parma. this is one reason to shuffle them in there instead of putting them in a bag. I think I can detect them with my fingers, but it's not always the case. Okay. If a brigade has Faccio, this is not Faccio. I do not have him there. He would immediately get this card. Otherwise, he goes to the brigade closest to Pontremoli, which is here. One. I don't know about corners. That would be 3. 1, 2, 3. If Faccio comes in, it'll go to that person. And this is when you execute a recon, you also look at the top 3 cards of the event deck and place them on the top of the deck. So I don't know if this is 3 away because it goes through a corner. I kind of feel like no, but I don't know. So I'm going to give this to orange. Otherwise, orange might have decided to give it to red because red doing recon might make more sense than orange at this point. Actually, not red. Yellow, right? This is why you want to keep the cards out there instead of just the chips, because otherwise you might get confused. But yeah, this is yellow's turn. So on yellow's turn, what are they going to do? Well, what are my bonuses? Once per turn, if a dispatch is done. That's interesting. Dispatches gain a threat to do it. I would like to build up my force. So I'm going to recruit. Gives me 2 threat. If I dispatch, I would have to give this up. I believe I have to have a card to do a dispatch. I am going to try this. I don't know how this is going to work because I'm one-handed here. There's a certain amount of dexterity that I lose using only my left hand. But okay. So I am going to do a dispatch to who? Hey, Blue, do you have any threat reduction? I do. I have a really good card that has threat reduction too. If I dispatch to you, can we just exchange them? Sure. Yes, I'm able to see the cards. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to very carefully place this at the 100. And I missed. I got nothing. We did these. Okay. Well, that would have been great, and it would have been even greater if I had other people around to pick it up. Now I've failed to get rid of the risk that I had here, but I have a card that I can still do it. So I will. And I am going to take on more, especially since I'm running kind of late in the turn. I'll get more cards, so I'll take on 2 more risk. And now I go to the threat reduction, and I get a 6. That lets me get rid of all of these. That's pretty potent. Okay, and this doesn't go away. It's as many times as I wish to do it. That's going to be kind of powerful, actually. And now to the last, play this, to the last player in sequence. Reggio Emilia gets 2. Let's try to do them one at a time. Might want to do some recon. Felt. Okay. Snitch Hunt. Discard combat cards with a total value of at least 4 to discard 2 threat, or receive 1 threat for each partisan in your brigade. Bugger. So I could get rid of this. That's a powerful piece. Get rid of a lot of threat, rebuild some threat. I'm going to do this. No, I'll take a threat. So I take a threat for this card. Now I'm able to do my action. Play this to get rid of 2 threat. And I'll put 2 of these down. Get 2 more threat. Do I want to do more? I mean, I'm going to get big fistfuls of cards. But I go late in the turn, which means I have to deal with a lot of people before I get any chance to do anything about that threat. And a lot of good cards have come up, so I'm going to stick with this as it is. Now I get my threat reduction. I'm a 3. Not good enough. Okay. End of season, and we collect up cards and do the payments. I'll just do that off camera. And nobody ran into any particular problems. Notably, although we had big hands of cards, they do get pared down by all these forces that we've built up. And that's one of the things that I did wrong the first time I played it. In addition to, you know, not playing by the rules, I also didn't realize how important it is to try to get your brigades as big as possible so you can start drawing big cards, big hands of cards out of them for the next time. I was too worried about threat, in part because I didn't have this, you know. But yeah, I've gotten a little bit better at managing those. I feel, you know, I don't know if playing a version of it that's easier would have prepared me for the same problems. Of course, there's things I want to do, like I want to recon some of these spaces and you know, see what those big piles are, because convoys are going to come from them. Unfortunately, recon is an expensive process. Orange is the only one who's good at it, and he'd have to spend movement to get him up to that recon space, and that's not cheap. Now, I think the R's here indicate that's where you recon from instead of going an extra space, but maybe you do go an extra space. I'll have to figure that out. But that's a lot of movement, a lot of capability to reach something where, wow, if you're going to expend all that, well, maybe just take a risk on the attack, you know? Alrighty. I guess that's it. Have to forgive me my gloves this time. I had to cut the power to my heater because my wife's heater won't turn off at all. I leave it on minimally when it's close to failing to dropping below freezing, but it's chilly down here. Anyhow, let's see where we are. We are on more of 1944. I think I'm going to do this season and then load up. First convoy. Okay. Resolve a convoy from La Spezia up to Reggio Emilia. So that's going to travel up this road. This isn't a very big convoy. There's a lot of people who have a lot of capability to schwack it. Our first opportunity comes here. Yeah. It's not going to go up road VA. It's going to go up road AF. Okay. That's interesting. FR is a distance of 3. And here, AF and FR are both a distance of 3. AF's a distance of 3 for orange as well. So orange is going to analyze, hey, you know, can I do this? And I do not have enough movement to do it on my own. So I'm going to ask other people if they think they can take care of it. I could fire this off and get to it. And it's kind of important to hit a weak convoy like this. Red also is not in a great position. and they would use up all their cards and have no partisans. So they're pretty much out of it. Here I could blast that, my big movement card. I only have 3 combat if I do that now, which might fail. Of course, I have a couple more I could bail in. I could chance my pieces. So orange is beginning to look promising, but he's weaker. Now they can't really say, but he can say, you know, I'm really weak. I'd be using a token and I'd only have 1 card left. They can give that kind of information forward. So I'm thinking blue may be my best shot. So blue will expend his 3-point move. It's a big deal to blow one of your counters. He's already blown one. To do something. But, okay. And now for strength, I'd rather keep this threat reduction. I'm going to just play my 2 here. That's all I'm throwing down. This is turned up. It's a 0. We were successful. Even though this isn't worth anything, it goes in the red bag because I might be forced to expend that. Now the convoy does not use up, is not part of red's turn. Another event card is drawn, and in this case, something shows up in La Spezia again. And this is sort of the ultimate, is get 1 or 2 counters each time. When you start getting a pile like that or that, it's hard to attack. On the other hand, the fact that the piles didn't move earlier is also kind of a big deal, because, well, there were also no attacks that were forced, or no counters that showed up that could be attacked. There are some cards that allow that kind of thing that are kind of weird. Red is going to be searched for. Once again, we look up, because I can never remember. So the brigade is going to be rolling less than or equal to partisans. It doesn't have any, but then less than or equal to threat is a possible issue. Okay, I get away cheap, and this should be face up at this point. So now we go to this SS, I guess. This is just the name of the card. The brigade closest to Faustinovo. Rah-rah. Okay, that does not appear to be a city. With the most threat, gets some problems. So now we spend our time looking everywhere. It's down here. Well, that's going to be the yellow. So they pick up 2 threat. Sucks to be them. And suffer an attack with an additional card because I'm in Faustinovo. This is why you don't want to be in the populated areas. Okay, this is an automatic attack. It's got a distance of 3. The black doesn't count yet. The brigade will be getting a number of cards equal to its threat. Yellow's threat is 2, and an additional card. And we reveal these now, right? Yep. Yeah. Okay. So we've got to spend 3 to get there. That's these. That means the total strength is 2. This card is less valuable than the others, so I'm going to beat it. I don't have anything else that could attack it. Yeah, no problem with these damn gloves. They don't fit very well. Okay, and now red gets to take their actions. Well, red's got their full actions in play. What's my bonus? Committing is good. I really need to get a couple of things in play. Let me see about threat reduction. I don't have any. I could move, but then I'd be leaving the rich area. I could pick up more threat, but then I've got a long ways to go. Ugh. Disengage is 2 footprints march. I could draw a card, but I don't really want to do that. I'm going to pull one of these and live kind of dangerously here. Right? What is my bottom? Committing costs less. How much less? Add or subtract 2 to the die roll. Yeah. Committing is fairly safe, although it still causes potential casualties. Let's spend another and put yet another disc out there. All right. I don't like doing this, but next one up. La Spezia gets another one. And this is the Faccio card. This is going to affect this. Okay. Carry out an airdrop on Zeri. Zeri's way over here. This is going to be hard for me to get. The brigade that retrieves the airdrop discards 1 combat card and keeps this card. If no brigade retrieves the airdrop, the active brigade keeps this card. However, it's going to go to orange no matter what. Discard at the end of any attack, adding 1 to strength. It's not that big a bonus. He's collecting up all the cards. So, the airdrop. Alright. Now, this is where I want 2 hands. Because I'm about here for this. Now, what I'm going to do is going to try to bounce this. I think I missed entirely, and I missed the board. What I was going to try to do was get enough English on this to get it somewhere. But that did not happen. So this just goes over here. And, well, wait a minute. We did the red. I didn't put my counter down. So this is the orange turn. What does orange have? Orange has tons of stuff and no threat. Wow. And there's nothing I can really recon that's within range. I could try to move, but well, I'm not in the richest of places. But again, I have no threat. See, the recon would be useful, and I'd kind of like to move myself so that I could. What's my recon distance? I think it's like 3 or 4. That's painful. Let's see about recon here. Yeah, just those. I mean, when am I ever going to be in the right place? I would like to march or disengage. Okay. I have this. All right. I'm going to take a threat. Oh, I forgot to do threat reduction. I am so bad at this. So threat reduction is a die 6 higher than the threat. This is why I don't want all that threat. Shit. Yeah. Nope. Okay. I'm going to take 2 threat. Well, I'm going to take 1 threat on and draw a card. Okay. Let me look at what I got. You wouldn't do this in a real game because you're not supposed to reveal your cards to anyone. I'm going to take another threat and draw another card. I can't do threat reduction. What is it? Diffuse. But I can't march. He's not the guy who can do that, but I can disengage. So I'm going to throw one of these. That's 2 movement. And I get to move 1 space. All right, I got to look at distances. Distance between a territory and a road. See, cities are not territories. Okay. I would like to get a little closer, and I'll discard one of my threat. Now I have a good chance that my reduced threat is really good. I'm going to take another, because I can do that for free. I draw another one of these. There's just not much I can do here that's left. I could keep drawing cards. I have a maximal size brigade. I'm going to get tons and tons of cards. What happens if I give cards away? Because that's an option that I can do. I could dispatch. Dispatch takes 1 threat, and I can give some cards to someone else, or I can exchange with them. If I do that, who would I want to deal with? Well, blue is yet to go, and they are not in the happiest condition. So I'm going to take a threat on. That's my 3rd threat. That means I'm no longer guaranteed to do okay here. And I am going to give them... See, cities are not spelled out here. Recon. On the map, this is possible or connected to the associated city. The R is in the same space as the city. Yeah, you know what? I may not give away a card. I think I'm going to recon that, because I think I can do that for 1. So I'm going to spend 1 movement action. I think the recon here puts me in the same space as this. I don't think cities are a space. So I recon that. Reconning that flips both over, if I'm right. White arrows to equal the distance. Then the brigade receives a threat unless it controls a certain person. So that's my 3rd threat there. And I turn up all the face down counters. Okay, so now I know the strength of this, which, is powerful. Now I'm allowed to take into effect, let's see, keep this card, you can discard effects of an attack. When you execute a recon, also look at the top 3 cards of the event deck and place them in any order of your choice. This is a convoy from Regia to La Spezia. That's a big-ass pile. Oh, man. I don't know if I can deal with that, but I definitely want that to happen before the Regia card. And what about these others? Carry out an airdrop on Momio, which I might be able to get to someone else. The brigade closest to Zeri with the most threat gets an attack. That would be me. I'll do this, I guess. That means yellow is going to get attacked. Yellow looks like they can handle it. All right. I guess we've done what we wanted to. And we do our threat reduction. I add 2. That's 4. I've got 3. Does that make sense? Guess I only lose one. Yeah, because there's multiple penalties to taking that on. All right. I'm going to pause so that I can swap batteries because this one seems dead. At least it's charged. Something funny happened with my camera. This has happened before. It usually uses the memory card, but it has sort of a built-in memory as well. And it's swapped over to the other memory for some reason. And I ended up like having my last video over on Leipzig split into two. And everything from this before was there. And I have no idea where it's going to show up now. But the advantage to that is there's some kind of weirdness to the connection with the memory card, or something's wrong with my memory card. And I now I know enough I should just buy a new one. But I had none of those problems using the internal memory. And that's a good sign. Okay, we go back. The La Spezia, we know this is happening. It's here. I kind of saw the color of it. Okay. This is a hit, a search for yellow. Okay. Less than the number of partisans. I have a whole bunch of partisans. But we only get one threat maximum off this. 5, it's more, so we don't. And we're less than the threat, so we're not attacked, so we have no impact there. And now this. The brigade closest with Zeri with the most threat suffers an attack. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, I guess 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So orange is going to be attacked. All right. The brigade is not in Zeri, so it doesn't get the extra hit. And an attack, look at the risk factor, it's not good now. My risk factor is only 1, which means I'm not going to be able to cancel out much. I get combat cards equal to the threat, that's 2. Now I don't get anything for winning these. Alright, 1 gets me there, so it's a strength of 4 hitting this. That means I'm not going to be the guy who hits that. And probably that's just going to slide through and be all good. But wait, I have... Okay. So all I need is 4 to knock him out. I'd rather the threat reductions, I guess. So I cancel that out. Could use some of those. Don't want to. This card goes away. It's yellow's turn. What the hell does yellow want to do? Okay, when I attack, I can take 2 extra cards. But not that potent. What does this thing mean? That thing means I could move a tile. That doesn't sound good. Oh, so one of my problems is I have a lot of threat. So I don't really want to take on a lot of threat. So what I'm going to do, I'll take on 1 more threat to put another dude down. I'll pay off 2 of the threat for that. I'm allowed to do that as long as I don't draw any cards. I'm not going to be able to attack, but threat reduction, although I got that big 4 there, but that's a huge stack. Threat reduction of 6 says I do not lose my threat, do I? If the die is higher than the current threat, yeah, I'd get rid of it. I would get rid of 5 threat, but you can't possibly have that much. That puts me on blue. Let's move the yellow here. And we have that known convoy. All right. This is huge. If these were 2 points each, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points. Blue has nowhere near the capability to attack it. Yellow could spend this, but then I have nothing. Orange. Orange is only one away. I could throw this or that and hit that. But I have like a maximum of 5 strength points. So what we're doing is we're going to move all of these over to this black tile. A bag. Hold on. A hugely expensive loss I just had. A whole pile of pieces that went by the road and I could do nothing about them. And you're saying, oh man, you know, you've put what, maybe 1 tile in here, a 0 at that? That's not great. And it's not. But here's the thing. Towards the end of the game, there's a lot of points that happen in that final aspect of it. So my hope is that by clearing this out, maybe another convoy comes down that's cheaper. Or maybe I can hit this convoy or something and make up some of those points. These big convoys are hard to deal with. All right, what's up with blue? Blue has a fair amount of threat. I feel like I need to reduce that threat. And I am going to buy myself 2 more recruits. I could have marched, but I don't want to use anything up for that. So I've increased the size of my force. I get a threat reduction check, which is successful. Reduces it by 3. And we go to the end of the season. And I'll handle that, come back and talk maybe a little bit, and then this is going to load up. I should be drawing another card for blue first. Okay, Reggio Emilia got one. And like halfway through the fix-up turn. That's not good. Okay. We had a search on blue. Blue is a distance of... It doesn't matter. Blue has to roll his size. Now, he hasn't built this up yet. I don't remember how much I built it. I think I had like 2 thread or something. Okay, I did not get attacked. And this, carry out an airdrop on Mamio. A brigade may attack an enemy tile in Mamio. Oh, fuck. Because here's the problem. I've already gone through him. I started counting his and reshuffled. A brigade may attack an enemy tile in Mamio. If no brigade attacks, the brigade closest to Mamio loses a card. And then you do it with Canova. Okay. Yeah, this blows. I fucked up. Mamio. Where's Canova? It's Carrara. Canova. Yeah. Okay. Well, unfortunately, Mamio, I got 3 cards for. This was the 4th card. We got a reshuffle too early. That's all we're going to do there. And blue took their turn somehow. Okay, fucked up. First, an airdrop on Mamio. Mamio's over there. I am going to position this like this because I need the die capability. I am going to try and get it here, but if things bounce too much, Try to do it there. I know you can't really see. It's from this height. Yeah, I got no idea how to do this. Okay, well, the airdrop failed. And then we do the whole thing over on the other. But first, Mamio. There is a tile in Mamio at this point of completely unknown value. There's no chance to search it or whatever. And blue is unable to attack. They fucked things up too much. But red is 2 away from Mamio. I could attack it, but I wouldn't have a lot. The brigade closest to Mamio would lose a card. Blue can choose that to be themselves, but then they're fucked. I don't know. I'm gonna have red discard a card for this. Now the other is Canova, and we're gonna try to do the same thing there, which is we get an airdrop, and for that we'll try to build some pieces. I don't know how much that helps out there, and I gotta go away while I try to do this, but I'm sure it's going to be horrible. So once again, trying to aim this way, my capabilities with any kind of physics just fail, but I got it real close to them. All right, and now we have a token in Canova, which either yellow or orange maybe can attack. Of course, unlike the convoys, these are not that great. I am, I think, 1 away there. So orange could move with this and maybe win, maybe not. Okay. And yellow could move with this and probably win with that. All right. We're going to try to move and have orange intercept this, and I'm going to play a 1 combat card against them. So we flip it up. It's a 0. Okay. So we got another 0 in play. At least we didn't lose a combat card off of it, although we used them up. And now we go back to producing our values. This has been used up. Blue got their turn somehow in there. I just skipped it. This Mamio one is over in the black bag, and I don't feel like we're doing it all well now. Again, the big draw taken up by the big cost for these large brigades, but and large brigades have additional problems with them, right? You roll, when you're rolling searches, is that where it is? When you're rolling searches, the number of partisans, a large partisan group can cause you to get an extra threat, which makes it more likely you're going to be attacked, etc. And plus, I've kept my threat levels low for the most part, except for him, and he's just in a problematic position. Luckily, he's far away, so he's not likely to get attacked, but he's in a lot of trouble. Right, so that's that. I swap batteries and try to load this thing up.